Copyright disclaimer: under the Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the elders of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akim out here pushing this gospel in truth and in sincerity, to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon your houses. This is the brother Quana Watts from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord will. It is edifying, Lord will. It is straight to the point. You know, and as you see, you know, in that video, man, hey, man, all our food is fake. You know, all of our food is fake, right? As you've seen in you know, the beginning, right? The rice, right? That shit's made of plastic, man. You know, the meat, right? It's got glue and this, that, and the third. All these different chemicals, right? Put into our food. And this is what we eat and this is what we ingest, you know, and it's doing nothing but destroying us, man. You know, doing nothing but destroying us, making us die faster, you know, have health issues faster, earlier in life, you know, and it's all because of who's in rulership, man, right? Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? Biblically called Esau, Edom. He's done nothing but destroy this earth. And we got this right here in Isaiah 24, verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. Right, man? You know? And, you know, with this damn devil, you know, being in power, right? He's destroying this earth, man. Completely destroying it. Right? That's why it says the earth languisheth, right? We got that word languish right here. It says to fail in strength, exhibit signs of approaching death. It's because Esau is not applying the scriptures, right? The number one printed and bought book in the world is the Bible, the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you know. And Esau's kingdom, That is the number one printed and the number one bought book. And yet he doesn't follow any of the instructions in that book, right? Such as Sabbathing the land. He doesn't do that, man. What he does is continues to plant these GMO seeds that do nothing but pull, they pull that nutrients out of the earth, right? And they don't seed, they don't do nothing, right? They don't replenish anything. They don't put anything back. And what they do is they rip them up, plant more seeds, and it just keeps taking and taking and taking. And he never allows for that earth to rest and replenish itself. That's the whole reason for, right, that Sabbath, right? Sabbathing the land, allowing for the land, right? The 7th year, allowing for the land, right, to come back and to replenish itself and whatnot. Esau don't do that. Esau don't do none of that, man. He don't apply none of the scriptures, And we're seeing the result of that, right? What it's doing to the earth and what it's doing to the people, Let's go back, right? It says the earth, verse 5, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof because they have transgressed the law. Again, they're not applying the scriptures, right? Esau being in power, right? He should be applying the scriptures, man. He should be applying the words of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and his only beloved God's Son, Yahweh Shai, right? Which are instructions in righteousness, man, right? Which we know in Wisdom of Solomon, I think it's 1 in 15, if I'm not mistaken. Righteousness is immortality, right? Matter of fact, let's prove that real quick, right? Wisdom of Solomon 1 and verse 15. It says, "For righteousness is immortal." That's right, right? So this place would ultimately live forever, but see, it's not meant, right, for Esau to be in power forever, man. Right? It's meant for this damn devil to be wicked. It's meant for this damn devil to just destroy everything. And this is what he's doing. This is exactly what he's doing, right? Let's go back to it. Isaiah 24 and verse 5, it says the earth also is defiled, right? Let's look up that word defiled. Right? Defiled, right? To desecrate, profane, make foul or dirty, right? To make foul or dirty, man. Ill treat, right here. Ill treat, dishonor, right? Come on, man. Esau has not been treating this earth, nor the people, right, like he should, man. Again, right, he's been spraying these different chemicals in the air, right, chemtrails and whatnot. Right, you got something called a plastic island in the ocean, where it's a whole bunch of just plastics, right, from balloons to water bottles to all different types of shit floating in the ocean, and it's like a big ass fucking island, man. And you got many places like that. I think there's I remember the brother Yawana, man, he did a lesson, I want to say a year and some change ago, man, going in on that trash river, right, in South America. I think it's Brazil, if I'm not mistaken, man. They got a trash river, right, of trash, and it's fucking disgusting, man. And see, not only do we have to, deal with this, right, the animals have to deal with this as well, man, right? The whole earth is defiled, under the inhabitants thereof, which we know, again, Esau, Edom is the one that control. Job 9 and 24, right? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. They have full control, man. And they've done nothing but defile this place, man. Right? It says, that was the point, right? The point being at the top, to desecrate, profane, right? Make foul or dirty. Right? It says the earth is also defiled, right? Profaned, right? Made dirty under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. It says right here, verse 6, it says, therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and a few men left, right? The curse hath devoured the whole earth, right? Which we know that curse is going into Esau, Edom, man. you know, and he's going to receive a recompense for, you know, what he has done, right? The Lord said what? He would destroy them which destroyeth the earth, you know? That's heavy, man. You know, and we can't wait. We can't wait for this damn devil to be taken out of power and destroyed, man. Because, again, it's not just him fucking with the earth. And he's been fucking with the apple of the Lord's eye, you know, which are the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. You know? And really a lot of this, right, stems from, you know, again, going back to Psalms, the 83rd chapter, right? Let's go here. Psalms 83. And I'll start at verse 2. It says, for lo, thine enemies, right? And we know that the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? Biblically called Esau, Edom, right? Is the enemy of the Israelites, man. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as well as you have the Israelite foreigners, right? The Israelites that have been scattered into all these different nations and throughout time began to look like these nations, you know? Throughout the generations, right? He's the enemy of the Israelites, right? It says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. And see, Esau did this in many different ways, right? Namely, right? By destroying the food, destroying the air, and destroying our water, right? You got water that is, you know, it says a reverse osmosis, which is basically them pulling, right, the nutrients and whatnot from the water, right? Just giving you plain old water with no life in it, man. And this is why you can't just drink regular water, right? You can be like in Arizona, it gets up to, you know, 110, 115, sometimes 120 in certain years, man. You know, you can't just drink regular water, man. You got to have a little, you know, IV salt, you know, little pack that you pour into your water that keeps you, you know, gives you electrolytes, because the water don't have it, right? Versus, right, going back to the ancient time, we didn't have any of that, man. You can drink the water, right? You can drink the water and it's not defiled. You can drink the water and stay hydrated, you know? But that's not the case here, man. You could drink 10, 15 water bottles in a day and still be dehydrated, man. That shit's insane in this fucking world, man. But see, again, that's part of him, you know, destroying us, right? Because that's the reason why he did it, right? So that the name of Israel be no more remembrance. He didn't want us to remember who we are. You know, he doesn't want us, you know, to you know, be healthy, right? So he gave us GMO food, right? He didn't want us, you know, he doesn't want us to live. So he gives us what? Chemicals in our air, chemicals in our food, right? All these different things, man. You got chlorine in your tap water, man. You know, chlorine in your tap water. And there was a lady that did a video and she was like, yeah, you know, you gotta have a filter thing on your you know, your sink faucet, because you got chlorine. She put the little drops that I did that show, you know, that there's chlorine in the water. And then she put freaking vegetables in there, right? She put vegetables in there, and then when she pulled the vegetables out, the water was clear because all the food soaked up that chlorine. So now you're going to rinse off your freaking vegetables, and you got, you know, chlorine in your food that you're eating, right? You got fluoride in the water, fluoride in the toothpaste, which calcifies your pineal gland, man. You know, there's just a whole bunch of things that Esau did, man, right? To do this right here, to fulfill this prophecy right here, right? Because this is prophecy, you know, a prophecy that already, you know, came to pass, you know, but Esau's still working at it, man. But see, through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, the Lord allowed for, you know, us to wake up, right, to who we are, right? So Esau's plans didn't work. Esau's plans didn't work because, hey, he's not in control. Yahweh Shemel Shai is in control, you know. And this is why he's gonna be recompensed, right, for everything that he's done, man. You know, I'll read it again. Verse 4 it says, "They have said, 'Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.'" And it's not just Esau, Edom, right? It's the rest of these nations, as we're going to read, right? But Esau, Edom being the number one nation, right, to basically create these plans and try to implement these plans. Hell, he's the one that's in control, right? Verse 5, it says, verse 6, it says, "The tabernacle of Edom, the Ishmaelites of Moab and of the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre," right? So it's a plethora of different nations, man. But again, who's at the forefront? Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, you know. But the Lord said what? Again, I quoted it, right? Now I'll bring it up again, right? I'll quote it again. The Lord said, "He will destroy them that destroyeth the earth," right? I got one more precept. I actually want to grab this in the blue letter. I have it pulled up. This is Isaiah 34, verse 5. It says, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven," right? Which that sword is going into what? Those ICBM nuclear missiles, right? Which these nations are creating and producing, right? Not just to sit on the shelf, right? Not just to, you know, to flex and not use. No, they're going to be used, and here soon, man. Here soon, they're going to be used, man. Once, you know, the prophecy of the mandatory implementation of the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, right? Revelations 13 and verse 16, right, to 17 on down, you know, once that's implemented, once that prophecy takes place, which is going to take place here soon, hey, then World War III quickly, immediately after that, you know, and then the most sought after prophecy, which is the deliverance of the elect of the nation of Israel, you know. So we're in these times, man, you know, and what comes with that, right? Hey, there's two things Yahweh Shai going to come to do, right? Deliver the elect of the nation of Israel and destroy, right? You're going to destroy this place, man. You know, via putting the spirit on these nations, right? To press the button, shoot those ICBM nuclear missiles, as well as when he cracks the sky, when Yahweh Shai cracks the sky, sending the angels, right, out and destroying this place, man. Yahweh Shai sending out them laser beams, right, to destroy this place, man. You know, hell, all the nuclear missiles that are going to come down upon America are going to be an overkill. But then you're going to have the chariots coming up and aiding in that as well. So it's going to be a double overkill, man. You know, it says, verse 5, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment." Now let's look up that word Idumea, because these are the people of the Lord's curse, right? Strong's H123, Edom, right? It says Edom, you know. It says what? Red, right? Because Esau came out hairy, red, hairy like a garment, right? Genesis 25th chapter, right? It says Edom, Edomite, Idumean, descendants of Esau, land of Edom, Idumea, land south and southeast of Palestine, which, you know, America, right? You know, is spiritually Edom or Idumea or Basra. Right? It's got many different, you know, names in the scriptures, man. You're not going to find the word America, you know. The scriptures is ultimately a code book, you know. And you got to have the spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, right, in order to be able to decipher those codes, you know. So this is speaking about America, right? It says, "The sword of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of kidneys of rams. For Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea." Right? It's talking about the same place. It's talking about America. Right? It says, "And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood." Scriptures talk about blood should be up to the horse's bridle, right? That thing that goes in the horse's mouth. Hey, that's high, man. You know, and that was just symbolic, man, meaning there's going to be a shit ton of fucking death, right? That Yahweh Shai and these nuclear missiles are going to bring, right? It says, "And their dust and their dust made fat with fatness." It says, for it is the day of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai's vengeance for everything that he's done. Again, touch the apple of the Lord's eye, first and foremost, right? And destroyed the world, man, and continues to do so, right? And Esau is going to continue to do so all the way until Yahweh Hashem Yahushua or Yahweh Shai shows up with his angels, man. You know, it says in the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. There you go. It says, in the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever, from generation to generation. It shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. Meaning America's going to be destroyed, man. Now, again, it's not going to be, smoke is not going to be descending up literally forever. It just means a time period, right? A very long time period. But nonetheless, when ultimately that smoke clears, right, what's going to happen? America's going to be a desert, a plain, right? As you continue to read, which I'm not going to, y'all can read, read it yourself, man. America's going to be a desert where only the, desert creatures are going to dwell, America will forever be a monument, right, of what the Lord will do to the wicked, and has done to the wicked, right? Esau, you got some shit coming, man. You fucking damn devils, man. Lord gonna get your ass. And he gonna get your ass soon, man. So with that, Lord wills that define, Lord will straight to the point. I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, double honor said the elder apostles, elder bishops, elders of Great Millstone rule very well, very beautifully. Till next time, I say shalom.